It is March 21st, 2018. We're here at 5538 Red River Drive in San Diego, California, 92120. We're here on the rooftop of the house. We do not see any cleanouts at the ground level for the main sewer line. So we're here going through the 2-inch roof vent. This is one vent for the entire bathroom. The bathrooms are back to back and the toilets are in the middle. So the 2-inch vent that's required for the sewer main will then branch off in both directions as we go down this vertical pipe. So we will not be able to see the two vent lines for the tub shower combo and for the two lav sinks. Now this is an ABS line. We do notice right here where my finger's bouncing, you can see how it's beveled out at about a 45-degree angle. That's a wear indicator mark. So either somebody's cameraed the line before or they've had to snake and clean the line out. We have another little small little indentation right there where my finger's bouncing, and just some other little wear pieces, but that one right there is definitely from either a camera or a drain cleaning. So we're going to go down this pipe, see if it stays ABS the whole way. Looks like we've got a turn on the line already. They angled it a little bit, a couple 45s there, but it is all still ABS. Now the ABS pipe can still crack or break. It's not immune to that. However, it doesn't split and fall apart like cast iron. And usually the crack or break marks are just at where it glues into a joint or a coupling of some type. If the pipe is overly stressed, then sometimes it'll snap there. But it doesn't happen too often. So here's our four-way T-junction. So this is what we were referring to, that off to the left and off to the right, because the toilet's in the middle, will be the continuation of the smaller vent lines, which are just going to be 1.5 inches to feed all the other 4 fixtures for the 2 bathrooms. So I still have all ABS pipes, so that is again good. So it looks like we're now coming up to the cast iron. So they must have redone these vent lines during a remodel process or during an issue that they had, or even if a roof was redone at one time, somebody might have changed out the pipe and the flashing up to the rooftop at that time. So here we're transitioning back to cast iron. So see right here we have nice clean cast. We're going to go down this really slow just to make sure we don't see any hairline cracks or anything that looks susceptible, because we're starting to go into the slab now. And so we now have our 4-way T-junction here that pick up the 2 toilets that are back to back. So that's why we've got this long ovalized section. That's where both toilets immediately empty into the line here. And then here we're now going to get out of this vertical. We're in the sewer already, and we're going to make our transition into the horizontal pipe. So this is now running away from the bathrooms towards the front of the house. You can see a little bit of deposit on the left side of the pipe there, a little scale build up. Sometimes that can also be the swelling of the line, but it's very minimal. Right now the cast iron looks very good. Very little scale and deposits built up in the pipe. Nice open circular pathway. A lot of times the cast iron, as it gets older, will get a lot of deposits, especially on the bottom, and that will kind of flatten out the bottom, and you'll get little undulations, and that can also tend to hold water and cause corrosion of the line over time. But right now it looks really, really good. So you can see on the left side there and on the right, that's kind of a little bit of flaking, peeling of the wall, the pipe. Not that it's going bad, but just the age of the cast iron. That's just what happens. But there's the pipe's really thick. There's just layers of it that will start to eventually rust and corrode. But overall, this looks very, very healthy and completely functional. We didn't turn on any faucets when we came here. That little bit of water on the bottom of the pipe, I don't know if that's actually continually running by. They might have a slow leak on maybe one of their toilets. I didn't notice any drippy faucets in the unit. Everything still looks good on the line. I'm really not noticing anything on those sidewalls. It's an area of concern yet. We're now coming up to a T-junction here, and that kind of debris you see right there, that's going to be from where probably the kitchen dumps into the line. So as we go down and across the system, we first come up to the quick kitchen line, and then right after that will be where the laundry connects into the system. So that's going to be where the kitchen dumps. That's the T-junction for that. That's why we're seeing kind of that little bit of buildup right there. That's all the food, grease, and other debris from years of accumulation in the line. Now the laundry and kitchen may become one pipe when they dump in, so that could be a combination T. We'll see if we catch another T-junction on the line. Okay, here we go. Here's our second T-junction, so that's where the laundry dumps into the system right there. So this system is pretty basic. It's a one real straight line from the bathrooms and heads right towards the front of the house, and in very short distances picks up the two 2-inch lines for the kitchen and then laundry. There's not a lot of turns on the system or even long distances where all the drains connect into the sewer. We did not notice any cleanouts on the grass or by the property line. There's going to be an original buried property line cleanout at the bare minimum. We'll see if we see that coming up shortly, and if we don't see it at the ground level again when we locate it, we will mark it on the property. So the same thing, just a little bit of swelling and debris on the right and left sides of the pipe of the old cast iron, but it's nothing to be concerned about. Everything's fully intact and still looks very good. A little bit of debris just hanging at the top of the pipe there. A little piece of debris there. Well, I think that's actually like a little worm squirreling around inside, or a bug in the line there. Let's see. Line still looks good. Flattened out a little bit on the bottom, so now you can see there's a little bit of debris on the bottom. It's a little bit flatter, not perfectly circular, but again, not a problem whatsoever. No hydrojetting or maintenance required on this. So now here's the property line cleanout that we were referring to. So this is where the line horizontal becomes vertical, and this is probably going to be just before the retaining wall at the end of the grass, and then it's going to make a downward turn with a full 90-degree turn, and then go down for several feet, and then become horizontal again and run across. Now this is a really hard 90-degree turn, so this particular camera, which has a very stiff push rod, may not initially make all these turns through there, so we may have to try with a second camera to get by there. In some instances we cannot get by at all, but we will locate where this is at on the property in case this ever needs to be extended to the surface. Unless, again, it is partially and just buried by some of the grass somehow. So you can see we've made that initial 90-degree turn with the spring of our camera, but once the stiffer push rod has to get by there, it becomes almost impossible because of how sharply the 90-degree elbow is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull back to the clean out here, and we're going to locate this to see if it is accessible on the property. If not, then we'll mark it so that they know where they would have to dig up to bring it, make it accessible in the future, and then we'll swap out cameras as well to see if we can maneuver past this and get farther down all the way out to the end of this lateral line where it connects into the city and the street. Okay, we've located the sewer pipe here right at this clean out. The pipe is 39 inches deep, so it's just a little over 3 feet deep. We've taken some photos with our phone, and we'll send them to the prospective buyer. This is marked with a flag in the ground, and it says PLCO, which stands for Property Line Cleanout, and 39 inches. But if that flag gets removed or thrown away by the homeowner, or they don't buy the home, we took some photos and we will forward those over showing this location. It is 7 feet away from the end of the retaining wall before the sidewalk, and it's actually 7 feet off to the left of the driveway as you're leaving the front of the house. So that's its exact position, where if cleanouts for the main line were to be put in, this is where you'd want to put them in, because you can put them in for the horizontal line, but you also would extend this property line cleanout again to alleviate this hard 90-degree elbow turn for any snaking or cleaning purposes. Or if there was a major issue with the city, they require a re-inspection after a plumber's report is filed to go from the property line cleanout. Now, it's rare something would have to be done to that effect, but at this point we're going to go ahead and now pause the video and try to get another camera that's a little bit more flexible on the end to try to get beyond this point, so we can verify that from here out to the street there's no other root intrusions or problems with the cast iron before it transitions, because it should change into clay or PVC greenbelt pipe, and the homeowner is still responsible to maintain this line all the way out to the street. So we're going to pause the video. Okay, so we've pushed this specialty camera all the way down to just in front of the clean out. As you can see, we have a multitude of water running, the tub, shower, kitchen, and we'd flushed both toilets before. So we're hoping that the camera flexibility on the end of this and the water in conjunction can help us get through this and out a lot further. So we will see what we're able to acquire. Now, it looks like we're able to make the turns. We might still be stuck at the bottom. Second 90 may not be able to get too far down there, but I believe we've at least made the turn so we can see the transition to clay pipe. So we're going to hold this back just a little and see if we can still get it out further. There we go. We're just going to keep pushing as fast as we can here. We'll shut the water off and then we'll get a view of this, but we don't want to stop while we've got moving. Okay. We've come to a spot we cannot get any further, and our screen's kind of gone down, so either we're at some kind of a weird turn or a blockage or something. So there we go. We got through that as well. We might be into the city's pipe here. We're going to go now and pause the video and shut all the water off. Okay, so we shut all the water off. This was as far as we could push. I believe we are probably close to the city or in the city. The pipe does look relatively large here, but it's kind of hard to tell. We have a smaller camera in there that we utilize to get through this spot. Okay, it does look like we have some big roots intruding in the line here. Okay, so that black mark where the camera went down, that is a huge root intrusion. We were able to get our camera by this, and so at this point I don't think we were out into the full city's line. It does now that the camera angle, the lighting's off to the side. I can see this still looks like the 4-inch. So let's see, we have a little turn. At least this is in the house. So this is right before that turn. So you can see all those super heavy, thick roots. So these are extremely thick and heavy in the line. Take a quick little snapshot photo of that. So we can see that's why we were getting stuck on that last turn there. So very thick intrusion, blocking a majority of the pipe. You can see how large that is. A little bit of debris on our camera face there, but very large intrusion. This is going to need to be serviced very soon, and so that's why with no clean out, this can't be cleaned out properly. We don't have a 3 and 4 inch access point for both the hydrojetter that uses a spinning nozzle to really rip roots out, or even just a large cutting blade. We only have a 2-inch vent access, and that has a couple turns on the vent alone, so nothing large can be put on at all. So we're going to back up through the line here. Looks like we've got some buildup right here, and that is another big root intrusion. So you can see that is our second intrusion in the line. Not as thick as the last one, but still needs maintenance on that one for sure as well. And here we're coming through, and looks like we've got a little root dangling right here as well, coming through the line. Small one, but it's there. Looks like we've got some root ball right here. Same thing. Quite large, blocking the bottom and sidewalls of the pipe, which is the worst spot because obviously that's where everything's trying to flow by and will bind and catch up. So you can see that big intrusion there. So we've had 4 so far, although the third one that we just passed previous to this was extremely small. That's the problem with clay pipe. It comes in very short 4-foot lengths, and it's pushed together with a rubber boot, so it's very easy for moisture to leak out and roots to grow in. Here's our transition. Appears right back to the cast iron right here. So we've got a good junction there at least. A little bit of what we call a sag or a belly to the line. So that's why it's got this little pool of water hanging out on the bottom. This is a 90-degree elbow at the bottom, and when they're building the home, they're coming up, the clay's already been in place, and so sometimes it'll be just a little off. But again, that's right at the 90, so gravity of everything coming down the vertical pipe is going to push through there no problem. If there was roots there, then that would be a bigger issue, but we don't have that. So now you can see we're coming back up the vertical pipe. We couldn't get down with the other camera. And here we go. We are at the property line clean out again. So this specialty camera doesn't have a sonde built in on the end of it. It's actually about 20-25 feet back. So we can't precisely pinpoint where the roots are, but we can tell from our distance counter. Again, this clean out right here on this camera, we're at about 68 feet almost. So we're going to take a small snapshot of this clean out. Kind of clean up our camera a little bit there with some water. It's a little bit better. We just wanted to take a photo of this really quick, just as a point of reference for the distance counter. So I believe we got out to about 93 feet, which is again almost right before it connects into the city, and then at about 86 feet, and then those 4-foot increments backwards, we kept having those root intrusions. So we know the distance they're at. We don't need to mark them. They're not going to ever need to be dug up because they're under the city street. So they're not going to be a repairable root intrusion. It's going to be where it basically needs to be maintained. We're now going to go ahead and leave this camera and push rod in the system, and we're going to pause the video and move a small camera over to the laundry and kitchen so we can check out the vent pipes there and part of the drain line. Okay, so we have a very small micro camera right now. So we're here still over by the kitchen and garage. So you're looking at the kitchen vent, the water heater vent, and this is the laundry vent. So this is a 2-inch ABS plastic vent. This is actually exposed in the garage. Got a lot of cobwebs in there. This is a camera that's less than 3/4 inch in diameter. Typically we need to use this on the small 2-inch cast iron pipes, so we can actually get through if there's some very heavy buildup. So okay, so you can see right here, this is the laundry line. You can see some very heavy buildup right there. Take a small photo of this. And so this laundry line's got a lot of lint or debris right there, just kind of hanging in the line. So the camera moves by and it moves out of the way, but it definitely needs a snaking, needs servicing. And here's already the junction that we mentioned, that these are short drain lines before they connect into the sewer, the way the house was laid out. And there's our red push rod, and where this connects into the sewer system. So that's the entire length of the laundry line. It's a very small one. I believe when we looked inside the garage, we did also notice that the standpipe where the laundry machine connects into was out of code. It was only an 1.5 inch standpipe. Codes requires a 2-inch, and there was no trap, which is definitely always has to be. In old days, they did allow 1.5 inch for laundry, but it hasn't been allowed for a long time. So they need to install a trap, a 2-inch in diameter, and a standpipe, and 2-inch in diameter. So both of those things appeared to be wrong inside the garage. So again, this is cast iron, but that's only basically right here's the T-junction where it picks up, where the drain comes in from the existing standpipe, which isn't set up again the right way. So right there, and then immediately goes back to plastic. So most of the cast iron is all just underground. We have all plastic above ground, except the one little T-junction. So we're going to pull our camera out. I apologize for those little cobwebs on there. So now we're just going to shift over here. It's going to look a little awkward. We're just going to walk over here to the kitchen. So this is the kitchen pipe. This is also ABS plastic. It's 1.5 inch, which all is required to be. Okay, looks like we've got a turn on the line there. Here's another turn, and here's where we go into the original part of the system. So now we're into cast iron. So all the vent pipe is ABS. We're going to pause the video for 1 second to get these cobwebs off before we push down this line. Okay, so we wiped off those cobwebs. We're going back down the vent again. So it's all ABS, and then we have our cast iron. Here's our T-junction that comes right from the trap from under the sink. So this is inside the wall, but all the other pipes are plastic. And then we're going to run this little bit of vertical line that's going to be cast iron, and then it's going to transition with a 90, and then just like the laundry, run across a few feet and connect into the main. Okay, there you go. You can see our camera head right there. That's our secondary spring for the specialty camera we made. So that's the entire kitchen line already. So that one is clear and open. And again, from the first video recording, if you recall all this white buildup and debris that we had mentioned, that was the kitchen line. You can see it right here as well. Just fat, grease, and food accumulation, but it's not clogging the line. This one doesn't need to be snaked or cleared at this time, unlike the laundry, really quick. So this line is good. So we're now going to go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so what we did, we just moved our camera down to ground level. So we're here at the front of the property. You can see the for sale sign, real estate sign. So right here is our green flag where we have denoted the buried property line clean out. And we just put our tape measure there so you can see it a little bit better. So right here is where the line needs to be dug up to put cleanouts in, but more importantly to expose the property line clean out so those roots can all be cleaned up. Now again, as we look across into the street, we took a measurement. It's right about 28 feet from here horizontally across to where it dumps into the city line. We have the few feet to go down vertically, so We had pushed out again at about 93 feet from this 68-foot mark, so we were probably about 5 to 8 feet short of actually where our camera could get all the way to the city itself. From this clean out to the curb is about 11 feet, and then it's about another 18 feet to the middle of the street. So again, we've got those root intrusions, and so this is the area that will need to be exposed. Just showing, panning across, show you position wise. So that concludes this recording.